Captain Lisa Stone sat in her command chair, staring at the stars through the main window of the ship Defiant. The black space around them looked peaceful, but Lisa knew better. Space was never truly peaceful. It was full of dangers that most people never saw coming. "Captain, we're getting something strange on the long-range sensors," said Lieutenant Sam Brooks from his station. He was the ship's communication officer, and he looked worried. Lisa turned to face him. "What kind of strange?" "It's a signal, but not like anything we've heard before. It's coming from the outer rim, about 12 light-years away. The signal is weak, but it's clearly artificial." Commander Jake Martinez, the ship's second-in-command, walked over to Sam's station. Jake was a big man with dark hair and serious eyes. He had been in the military for 20 years and had seen many battles. "Could it be a trap?" "I don't think so," Sam replied. "Listen to this." He played the signal through the ship's speakers. The sound was unlike anything they had heard before. It was musical, like singing, but filled with sadness and fear. Even though the words were in an alien language, everyone on the bridge could feel the desperation in the voice. "It's a distress call," said Dr. Amy Turner, the ship's science officer. She was a small woman with red hair and intelligent green eyes. The mathematical patterns in the signal match universal distress codes. Someone out there needs help. Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. The human race had been exploring space for 50 years, but they had never made contact with alien life. This could be the most important moment in human history. "Sam, can you translate any of it?" "I'm working on it, Captain. The computer is analyzing the language patterns now." Sam's fingers moved quickly over his control panel. "Got something?" "The signal is coming from a planet called Serenity Prime. The beings there call themselves the Kithara." The main screen lit up with a star map showing the location of the signal. It was in a part of space that humans had never explored before. "What are they saying?" Jake asked. Sam's face went pale as he read the translation. "They're begging for help. They say their world is under attack by something called the Vorthok Empire. According to this, the Vorthok have surrounded their planet with warships. The Kithara are asking anyone who can hear them to please help save their people." Lisa stood up and walked to the main screen. The star map showed Serenity Prime as a small blue dot surrounded by red markers. There were dozens of red dots around the planet. "How many ships are we talking about?" she asked. "From what I can tell, at least 100 warships," Sam replied. "Maybe more. The Kithara are saying they have no military. They're completely defenseless." Dr. Turner looked up from her station. "Captain, I'm reading some disturbing information in their message. The Kithara are describing what the Vorthok do to conquered worlds. They enslave the population and strip the planets of all resources. Billions of innocent people are going to die if no one helps them." Lisa felt anger building inside her. She had joined the space fleet to explore new worlds and protect humanity, but this was different. These were innocent people facing genocide, and they were crying out for help. "Captain," Jake said quietly, "we need to contact Earth Command. This is way beyond our mission parameters." Lisa nodded. Jake was right. The Defiant was an exploration ship, not a warship. They had a crew of only 200 people, and weapons designed for self-defense, not for fighting a war. "Sam, open a channel to Earth Command. Priority 1. The main screen changed to show Admiral Kate Rogers sitting at her desk on Earth. The Admiral was an older woman with gray hair and a face that had seen too many difficult decisions. "Captain Stone, what's your status?" "Admiral, we've intercepted an alien distress signal. A species called the Kithara is under attack by something called the Vorthok Empire. They're requesting immediate assistance." Admiral Rogers leaned forward. "Did you say alien, as in non-human?" "Yes, ma'am. This is first contact, but it's not the peaceful meeting we hoped for. The Kithara are facing extinction." The Admiral was quiet for a long moment. Lisa could see her thinking through the implications. Humanity had always wondered what would happen when they met other intelligent life. Nobody had expected it to be a cry for help. "Captain, your orders are to observe only. Do not engage. Do not reveal yourself to either species. We need to understand the situation before we act." "Admiral, with respect, there might not be time for that. The Cathera are saying the final attack will begin soon. Those are your orders, Captain." "Earth Command out." The screen went dark. Lisa stared at the empty space where the Admiral's face had been. She understood why Earth Command wanted to be careful. Humanity was still new to space travel, and getting involved in an alien war could be dangerous. But the Katora's message was still playing in the background. The sound of their fear and desperation filled the bridge. Lisa looked around at her crew. She could see the same conflict in their eyes that she felt in her heart. "Captain," Dr. Turner said softly, "the Cathara just sent another message. The Vorthok are beginning orbital bombardment. They're targeting civilian cities." Lisa closed her eyes. In her mind, she could see the innocent people on Serenity Prime looking up at the sky as death rained down on them. She thought about her own family back on Earth, and how she would feel if they were in danger and no one would help them. "Captain," Jake said, "what are your orders?" Lisa opened her eyes and looked at her crew. These were good people who had signed up to explore the stars and help others. They were waiting for her to make a decision that could change everything. "Set course for Serenity Prime," she said. "Maximum speed." "Captain, the Admiral's orders." "I heard the Admiral's orders," Lisa interrupted. "But I also heard those people crying for help. Sometimes you have to choose between following orders and doing what's right." The crew moved to their stations without another word. They all understood what they were risking. Their careers, their lives, maybe even Earth's future, relationship with alien species. But they also understood that sometimes, when people are dying, you have to act. As the Defiant turned toward Serenity Prime, Lisa made a promise to herself. The Cathara had called for help, and help was coming. But it wasn't the kind of help they were expecting. Humanity was about to introduce the galaxy to a new kind of warfare, one that came from a world where only the strong survived. The aliens had no idea what they had just unleashed. The Defiant dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Serenity Prime system. Captain Lisa Stone stood on the bridge, looking at the main screen that showed the horror waiting for them. The beautiful blue planet was surrounded by massive alien warships, their dark holes blocking out the stars. "My God," whispered Dr. Amy Turner. "There are so many of them." Commander Jake Martinez counted the ships on his tactical display. 137 vessels, Captain. Most of them are bigger than anything in our fleet. Lisa studied the enemy ships. They were built like floating fortresses, covered in weapon systems and armor plating. Each one could probably destroy the Defiant with a single shot. "Sam, any communication from the Cathara?" Lieutenant Sam Brooks worked at his station, his face grim. "Yes, Captain. They're still broadcasting their distress call, but it's getting weaker. I'm also picking up Vorthok military channels." "What are they saying?" "The Vorthok are coordinating their final attack. They plan to destroy all major cities on the planet in the next 6 hours. After that, they'll land troops to capture any survivors for slave labor." Lisa felt sick. She had seen war before, but this was different. This was the deliberate murder of an entire peaceful civilization. "Captain," Jake said quietly, "we need to be realistic. Even if we called for the entire Earth fleet, we couldn't stop this. There are too many of them." Lisa nodded. Jake was right about the numbers, but he was thinking like a traditional military officer. Humans had learned to fight differently than other species. They had learned to survive on a world that was constantly trying to kill them. "Dr. Turner, what can you tell me about the Vorthok?" Amy pulled up information on her screen. "From what I can gather from their communications, they're a warrior species. They believe in direct combat and overwhelming force. Their military doctrine is based on honor and strength, and the Cathara, complete opposite. They evolved without natural predators. Their world has no dangerous animals, no extreme weather, no natural disasters. They've never had to fight for survival. They don't even have a concept of warfare. Lisa smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a predator who had just figured out how to hunt her prey. Sam, open a channel to the Cathara leadership. Captain, are you sure? The Admiral's orders do it. The main screen changed to show an alien face. The Cathara looked almost human, but their skin was pale blue and their eyes were large and silver. The being on the screen was obviously female, and she looked exhausted and terrified. I am Elder Cerise of the Cathara, she said in accented but clear English. Are you here to help us? I am Captain Lisa Stone of the Earth ship Defiant. We received your distress call. Elder Cerise's eyes filled with tears. Thank the stars. We have been calling for help for days. The Galactic Council species say they cannot arrive in time to help us. Are you from the Council? No. We're from Earth. We're humans. Humans. Elder Cerise looked confused. I have never heard of your species. Are you from the peaceful worlds? Lisa exchanged glances with her crew. No, Elder Cerise. We're from what you might call a death world. Death world. The alien's confusion deepened. I do not understand this term. Dr. Turner stepped forward. Elder Cerise, may I ask about your world? Is it dangerous? Dangerous? No, of course not. Serenity Prime is a paradise. We have no predators, no diseases, no natural disasters. Our weather is always perfect. Our people have lived in peace for thousands of years. The human crew looked at each other in amazement. They couldn't imagine living on a world without danger. Elder Cerise, Lisa said, Earth is different. Everything on our world tries to kill us. We have predators, diseases, earthquakes, hurricanes, volcanoes. Even our weather can kill us. Humans evolved to be survivors. But you came to help us, Elder Cerise said hopefully. You will fight the Vorthok in honorable combat. Lisa's smile returned. We'll fight them, but not in the way you expect. We don't fight with honor. We fight to win. I do not understand the difference. You will, Lisa said. Elder Cerise, we need detailed information about the Vorthok, their ships, their communications, their military structure. Everything you know, of course. Anything to save our people. Over the next 2 hours, the Cathara shared everything they knew about their attackers. The Vorthok were a proud warrior species who valued strength and direct confrontation. They had conquered dozens of worlds using overwhelming force and traditional battle tactics. They have never faced an enemy like us, Jake said after reviewing the information. No, Lisa agreed. They fight other honorable warriors. They don't know how to fight survivors. Chief Engineer Ryan Clark, a quiet man with steady hands, looked up from his station. Captain, I've been analyzing the Vorthok ships. Their technology is advanced, but they have vulnerabilities. Their systems are designed for maximum power, not security. What do you mean? They don't protect their computer networks very well. I think I can get inside their systems and cause some problems. Lisa turned to Sergeant Nina Hayes, the leader of the ship's marine unit. Nina was a small woman, but her eyes were hard as steel. Sergeant, what do you think about boarding operations? Their ships are big, Captain. Lots of places to hide. If we can get inside without being detected, we can cause serious damage. What about their crew? Nina's smile was cold. They won't see us coming. Lisa called a meeting of her senior officers. When they gathered in the conference room, she laid out her plan. The Vorthok expects us to either run away or attack them directly. We're going to do neither. We're going to make them afraid. Afraid of what? Jake asked. Of the unknown. Of things they can't see or understand. The Vorthok are warriors. but they're not survivors. They don't know how to fight an enemy that attacks from the shadows. Dr. Turner looked worried. Captain, what you're describing sounds like terrorism. No, Lisa said firmly. Terrorism targets innocent people. We're going to target their military forces using psychological warfare. The Vorthok understand strength, so we'll show them strength, but not the kind they expect. Lisa opened a channel to Elder Cerise again. The alien leader appeared on the screen, still looking desperate. Elder Cerise, we're going to help you, but our methods might seem strange to you. We're going to attack the Vorthok in ways they don't expect. As long as you save our people, we will accept any help. You might not feel that way when you see what we do, Lisa warned. Humans fight differently than other species. We don't just defeat our enemies, we break them. Elder Cerise looked confused, but determined. Do what you must. Our children are dying. Lisa cut the communication and turned to her crew. Everyone knows their jobs. Ryan, start hacking their systems. Nina, prepare your boarding teams. Sam, I want you to monitor all Vorthok communications. Dr. Turner, I need you to study their psychology, find their fears. Captain, Jake said, what about the Cathara? They're going to see everything we do. They asked for help, Lisa replied. They're going to get it. But they're also going to learn something about humanity that they might not like. As the crew prepared for battle, Lisa stood alone on the bridge, looking at the Vorthok fleet. These aliens had surrounded a peaceful world and were preparing to commit genocide. They thought they were the strongest predators in the galaxy. They were about to learn that they were wrong. Earth had sent them something much worse than warriors. Earth had sent them survivors, and survivors would do anything to protect the innocent. The Vorthok had no idea what was coming for them, but they were about to find out why humans were the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The hunt was about to begin. The first sign of trouble came to the Vorthok fleet at 0300 hours, ship time. Admiral Krex was sleeping in his quarters aboard the command vessel when the emergency alarm woke him. He stumbled to his feet, confused and angry. What is happening? He demanded as he entered the bridge. Sir, we have multiple system failures across the fleet, reported his second-in-command, Commander Voss. Life support is malfunctioning on 7 ships, navigation systems are down on 12 more, and communication arrays are failing randomly. Admiral Krex studied the reports with growing concern. Sabotage. We don't know, sir. Our security teams can't find any evidence of intruders. The failures seem to be random technical problems, but they weren't random. Deep in the belly of the Vorthok ships, tiny machines no bigger than bacteria were doing their work. Chief Engineer Ryan Clark had spent hours designing the nanobots that were now spreading through the enemy fleet's computer networks like a virus. From his station on the Defiant, Ryan watched his creation work. The nanobots were invisible to Vorthok sensors, and they were programmed to cause just enough problems to create confusion without triggering major alerts. Phase 1 is working perfectly, he reported to Captain Lisa Stone. Their systems are failing, but slowly. They don't know what's causing it. Lisa nodded. Good, Nina, are your teams ready? Sergeant Nina Hayes checked her equipment one more time. She was dressed in black armor that made her nearly invisible in the darkness of space. Her team of 12 Marines was similarly equipped. Ready, Captain? We'll be in and out before they know we're there. The Marines loaded into small stealth pods that launched silently from the Defiant. The pods were designed to look like space debris, and they drifted slowly toward the largest Vorthok ships. Nina's pod attached itself to the hull of Admiral Krex's command ship. She used a laser cutter to make a small hole in the outer armor, then slipped inside like a ghost. The interior of the Vorthok ship was dimly lit and filled with the sounds of alien machinery. Nina moved through the corridors without making a sound. Her training from Earth's special forces serving her well. Her target was the ship's senior navigation officer, a Vorthok named Gorth, who was working alone in the computer center. Nina watched him for several minutes, learning his patterns and routines. When Gorth turned to check a different console, Nina struck. She placed a small device on his neck that delivered a drug that would make him unconscious for hours. Gorth collapsed silently, and Nina caught him before he hit the floor. But Nina didn't kill him. Instead, she did something much more disturbing. She placed a small recording device near his workstation, then used her portable computer to access the ship's personnel files. Within minutes, she had downloaded detailed information about Gorth's family, his friends, his fears, and his personal history. Then she left him sleeping and moved on to her next target. Across the Vorthok fleet, Nina's team was doing the same thing. They weren't killing the enemy officers, but they were learning everything about them. Personal information that should have been impossible to obtain. Meanwhile, on the Defiant, Dr. Amy Turner was studying the psychological profiles of the Vorthok officers. She had learned that the Vorthok were a warrior culture, but they were also deeply superstitious. They believed in honor, strength, and the protection of family above all else. "Captain," she said, "I think I know how to break them." "Show me." Amy pulled up a file on her screen. The Vorthok have a concept called the Shadow Curse. They believe that dishonored warriors are hunted by invisible spirits that know all their secrets. It's their worst fear. Lisa smiled. "Perfect. Sam, are you ready to broadcast?" Lieutenant Sam Brooks had been preparing for this moment. He had hacked into the Vorthok communication systems and was ready to send messages throughout their fleet. "Ready, Captain? I can reach every ship simultaneously. Do it." At 0600 hours, every Vorthok ship in the fleet received the same message. It appeared on their personal communication devices, the ones they used to talk to their families back home. The message was simple. "We know who you are." Admiral Krex was reviewing damage reports when his personal communicator activated. He looked at the message with confusion and anger. "How did someone get access to my private channel?" he demanded. But before anyone could answer, a second message arrived. This one contained detailed information about Krex's family on the Vorthok homeworld. It listed his wife's name, his children's names, their ages, where they lived, and what they did for work. "This is impossible," Krex whispered. "This information is classified at the highest levels." A third message arrived. This one was a video, showing Krex's home from the inside. Someone had been in his house, walking through his private rooms, recording his family's belongings. "Sir," Commander Voss said, his voice shaking, "I'm getting similar reports from across the fleet. Every officer is receiving personal messages about their families." The messages continued throughout the morning. Each one contained more impossible information about the Vorthok officers' private lives. Photos of their children, recordings of their conversations, details about their fears and secrets. But the most disturbing part was that the messages never made any direct threats. They simply proved that someone could reach the Vorthok anywhere, anytime, and that person knew everything about them. By noon, paranoia was spreading through the fleet like wildfire. Officers were accusing each other of being spies. Security teams were searching every ship for intruders they couldn't find. "Sir," reported Commander Voss, 3 ships have requested permission to return to base. Their crews are reporting that they feel watched." Admiral Krex was studying the messages when his communicator activated again. This time, the message was different. "Admiral Krex," the message began, "we know about your son's illness. We know about your wife's fear of the dark. We know about your nightmares. We know everything." Krex's hands shook as he read the message. How could anyone know about his son's rare disease? How could they know about his wife's childhood trauma? How could they know about the dreams that woke him screaming in the night? "We are the Shadow Curse," the message continued. We are the invisible spirits that hunt dishonored warriors. You have chosen to murder innocents. You have brought us to you. The final part of the message was the most terrifying. We are not here to fight you. We are here to judge you. And we have found you wanting. Across the fleet, similar messages were being delivered to every officer. Each message was personally crafted to target the recipient's deepest fears and secrets. Captain Lisa Stone watched the results from the bridge of the Defiant. The Vorthok fleet was beginning to fall apart from within. Ships were reporting equipment failures, crew members were fighting each other, and morale was collapsing. The psychological warfare is working, Dr. Turner reported. Their communications are full of fear and confusion. They're starting to believe they're being hunted by supernatural forces. Phase 2 is complete, Nina reported as she and her team returned to the Defiant. We've planted listening devices throughout their fleet. We can monitor their every move. Lisa nodded. The Vorthok had expected to fight an enemy they could see and understand. Instead, they were facing something that attacked their minds and their spirits. Captain, Jake said, some of the Vorthok ships are beginning to move away from the planet. They're not retreating, but they're repositioning. They're trying to protect themselves from an enemy they can't see, Lisa replied. Good. Fear makes people make mistakes. Elder Cerise contacted the Defiant with a mixture of hope and horror in her voice. Captain Stone, the Vorthok attack has stopped, but what you are doing to them, it is like nothing we have ever seen. We're saving your people, Lisa said simply. But at what cost? You are torturing them with fear. Is this how humans fight? Lisa looked at the alien leader with serious eyes. Elder Cerise, your people have never had to fight for survival. You don't understand that sometimes, to protect the innocent, you have to become something terrible. But you are not killing them. No, Lisa agreed. We're doing something worse. We're showing them that they're not the strongest predators in the galaxy. We're teaching them to be afraid. As night fell over the Vorthok fleet, the alien warriors huddled in their ships, jumping at every shadow, suspicious of every sound. They had come to destroy a peaceful world, but instead, they had awakened something that hunted in the darkness. The humans had only just begun to show them what real predators could do. The Vorthok fleet was falling apart. What had once been a disciplined military force was now a collection of scared, paranoid ships drifting in space around Serenity Prime. Admiral Krex sat in his command chair, staring at reports that made no sense. Sir, the supply ship Domination just exploded, reported Commander Voss. No enemy fire detected. The explosion came from inside the ship. Sabotage, Krex asked, but he already knew the answer. No evidence of intruders, sir. The investigation team says it looks like a reactor malfunction, but the timing is suspicious. Krex nodded grimly. This was the 5th accident in the past 12 hours. Each one had destroyed a critical ship in his fleet. The humans were picking off his vessels, one by one, but they were making it look like mechanical failures. Lieutenant Colonel Ben Garcia was the architect of these accidents. From his station on the Defiant, he was directing a campaign of sabotage that was invisible to the Vorthok sensors. His team had placed small explosive devices on key ships during the night raids, but the devices were designed to look like equipment failures. The Vorthok are getting desperate, he reported to Captain Lisa Stone. They're starting to suspect that their own people are working against them. Lisa studied the tactical display. The Vorthok fleet was no longer in attack formation. The ships were scattered, with each captain trying to protect his own vessel, instead of working together. Good. Paranoia is spreading faster than we hoped. Dr. Turner, how are the psychological operations going? Dr. Amy Turner pulled up her analysis. Better than expected, Captain. The Vorthok are a warrior culture, but they're not used to fighting an enemy they can't see. Their whole military doctrine is based on honor and direct confrontation. What we're doing to them goes against everything they believe about warfare. Show me the latest intelligence. Amy activated a recording of Vorthok communications that Sam had intercepted. The alien voices were filled with fear and confusion. "This is Captain Thok of the Crusher," one voice said. "I'm reporting strange sounds in the ship's corridors. My security teams can't find anything, but we keep hearing footsteps." "Confirmed," replied another voice. "The Ravager is experiencing similar problems. Someone is moving through our ship, but we can't find them." "It's the Shadow Curse," a third voice whispered. "The dishonored spirits are hunting us." Lisa smiled. The Vorthok didn't know that Nina's marine teams were still aboard their ships, moving through the air vents and maintenance passages like ghosts. The Marines weren't attacking anyone, but they were making sure the Vorthok knew they were there. "The fear is spreading through their entire fleet," Dr. Turner continued. "They're starting to turn on each other. 3 ships have already reported that their crews are refusing to follow orders." "Captain," Sam interrupted, "I'm picking up a communication from the Vorthok homeworld. Admiral Krex is requesting immediate reinforcements." Lisa leaned forward. "What kind of reinforcements? A full battle fleet? 50 ships, including their newest dreadnoughts. They're saying they need help dealing with supernatural warfare. When will they arrive?" 2 days, Captain." Lisa considered this news. 2 days was enough time to finish what they had started, but the arrival of more Vorthok ships would complicate things. "Dr. Turner, I need you to craft a special message for Admiral Krex, something that will make him think twice about calling for help." "What kind of message?" "The kind that will make him realize that bringing more ships will only give us more targets." An hour later, Admiral Krex received a message on his personal communicator. This one was different from the others. Instead of information about his family, it contained detailed intelligence about the reinforcement fleet that was coming to help him. "Fleet Admiral Grek commands 53 ships," the message read. "His flagship is the Annihilator. His wife's name is Vera. His daughter's name is Zara. She is 17 years old and dreams of becoming a scientist." Krex's blood ran cold. The message contained information that should have been impossible to obtain. Details about the incoming fleet that were classified at the highest levels of Vorthok military intelligence. "We know about the reinforcements," the message continued. "We know their routes, their capabilities, their weaknesses. We know the names of every officer and every crew member. We know about their families." The message ended with a simple statement. More ships only mean more targets, more families to watch, more fears to exploit. Krex stared at the message for a long time. How could these humans know about a fleet that was still 2 days away? How could they have access to classified military information from the Vorthok homeworld? "Sir," Commander Voss said, "are you going to cancel the reinforcement request?" Krex looked at his second-in-command. Voss was a good officer, but he looked exhausted and frightened. They all did. "No," Krex said finally. "We need those ships, but—" Even as he said it, he wondered if he was making a terrible mistake. The humans had proven that they could reach anywhere, learn anything, and strike without warning. Bringing more ships might just give them more opportunities to demonstrate their power. As if reading his thoughts, his communicator activated again. This time the message was a video. The video showed the interior of Admiral Krex's own cabin, but it was recorded from an impossible angle. The camera seemed to be floating in mid-air, moving around the room like a ghost. "We are here," a voice whispered in the video. "We are always here. We are watching you sleep. We are listening to your dreams. We are counting your heartbeats." The video ended with the camera moving to Krex's bed, where he was sleeping peacefully. The timestamp on the video showed that it had been recorded just a few hours ago. Krex jumped up and searched his cabin frantically. There was no sign that anyone had been there. No evidence of recording equipment. No trace of intruders. "This is impossible," he whispered to himself, but it wasn't impossible. Nina's Marines had developed techniques for surveillance that the Vorthok couldn't imagine. They used microcameras no bigger than dust particles, recording devices that could be hidden in the ship's air filtration system. and listening devices that could pick up conversations through the hull itself. The humans weren't just fighting a war. They were conducting a campaign of psychological terror that was designed to break the enemy's will to fight. Sir Voss reported, "We're getting reports from across the fleet. Officers are requesting transfers. Some are asking for medical leave. Morale is at an all-time low." "What about the attack on the planet?" "Postponed indefinitely, sir. The ship captains are saying they need to deal with the security situation first." Krex realized with growing horror that his mission was falling apart. He had come to Serenity, primed to conquer a defenseless world, but instead, he was losing a war against an enemy he couldn't see or understand. "Sir," the communication officer reported, "we're receiving a transmission from the humans. Put it through." Captain Lisa Stone's image appeared on the main screen. She looked calm and professional, but her eyes were cold as steel. "Admiral Krex, I am Captain Stone of the Earth vessel Defiant. I believe we need to talk." "You," Krex said, his voice filled with rage and fear. "You are the one responsible for this madness." "I am responsible for protecting innocent people," Lisa replied. "You came here to commit genocide. We came here to stop you. This is not warfare. This is terrorism." "No, Admiral. Terrorism targets innocent people. We're targeting military forces who are threatening civilians. The difference is that we're better at it than you are." Krex leaned forward. "What do you want?" "I want you to leave. Take your fleet and go home. Never come back to this system. And if I refuse..." Lisa's smile was cold and predatory. "Then we'll continue to hunt you. We'll follow you back to your homeworld. We'll learn about every member of your species. We'll become the nightmare that keeps your entire civilization awake at night." "You wouldn't dare? Admiral, look around you. Your fleet is falling apart. Your officers are terrified. Your mission has failed. And we've done all of this with one small ship and a crew of 200 people." Krex stared at the human captain. She was right. His mighty fleet had been reduced to a collection of scared, paranoid ships by a tiny human vessel. "Now imagine what we could do with our entire fleet," Lisa continued. "Imagine what we could do if we decided that the Vorthok Empire was a threat to galactic peace." The communication ended, leaving Krex alone with his thoughts. He looked around his bridge at his frightened officers and realized that he had already lost the war. The humans had shown him something that would haunt him for the rest of his life. They had shown him that there were predators in the galaxy that were far more dangerous than the Vorthok had ever imagined. And those predators were now watching his every move, waiting to see what he would do next. The Vorthok fleet began its retreat at dawn. Admiral Krex gave the order with a heavy heart, knowing that he was abandoning his mission and possibly his career. But he also knew that staying would mean the complete destruction of his forces by an enemy he couldn't fight. "All ships, prepare for immediate departure," he announced over the fleet communication system. "We are leaving this system." "Sir," Commander Voss asked quietly, "what do we tell High Command?" Krex looked at his second-in-command. Voss was a good officer, but he looked like he had aged 10 years in the past few days. "They all did. We tell them the truth," Krex said. "We encountered a species that fights wars in ways we cannot understand or counter. We recommend that the Vorthok Empire avoid any future contact with humans." As the massive warships began to move away from Serenity Prime, Captain Lisa Stone watched from the bridge of the Defiant. She felt a mixture of satisfaction and sadness. The Cathara were safe, but the cost of their salvation had been higher than anyone had expected. Captain Lieutenant Sam Brooks reported, "The Vorthok fleet is jumping too faster than light travel. They're heading back toward their territory." "Good. Any word from the reinforcement fleet?" "Yes, ma'am. They've received Admiral Krex's retreat order and are turning back as well. It seems our psychological warfare worked on them too." Lisa nodded. The messages they had sent about the reinforcement fleet had been a bluff, but a convincing one. The The Vorthok couldn't know that the humans had no way of actually reaching their home world. "Captain," Dr. Amy Turner said, "we're receiving a communication from the Cathara." Elder Cerise appeared on the main screen. The alien leader looked exhausted, but grateful. Her large silver eyes were filled with tears of relief. "Captain Stone, the Vorthok are leaving. Our people are safe. We cannot thank you enough for what you have done." "You're welcome, Elder Cerise. We're glad we could help." But even as she said the words, Lisa could see something else in the alien's eyes. Fear. The Cathara had been saved, but they had also witnessed something that terrified them. "Captain," Elder Cerise said carefully, "may we speak privately?" Lisa nodded and had Sam transfer the communication to her private office. When they were alone, Elder Cerise leaned forward. "Captain Stone, what we witnessed, what your people did to the Vorthok, it was unlike anything we have ever seen." "We saved your people," Lisa said simply. "Yes, you did. But the way you did it, you broke them. You didn't just defeat them in battle. You destroyed their will to fight by making them afraid of shadows and whispers." Lisa studied the alien leader. "Are you saying we were wrong to help you?" "No," Elder Cerise said quickly. "We are grateful. Our children are alive because of you. But we are also frightened. If humans can do this to the Vorthok, what could you do to us?" Lisa had been expecting this question. "The Vorthok came here to commit genocide. You called for help. We protect innocent people, Elder Cerise. We don't threaten them." "But you could," Elder Cerise said quietly. "That is what frightens us. Your people have shown us that there are ways to fight wars that we never imagined. Ways that don't require large fleets or powerful weapons. Ways that attack the mind and the spirit." Lisa looked out her window at the peaceful blue planet below. The Cathara were safe, but their innocence was gone forever. They had seen what humans were capable of when they chose to wage war. "Elder Cerise, I want you to understand something. Humans didn't choose to become what we are. Our world made us this way. We evolved on a planet where everything tried to kill us. We learned to be survivors because we had no choice. But you came here to help us. Yes, we did. And we would do it again. But you're right to be cautious. Humans are dangerous. We're probably the most dangerous species in the galaxy." Elder Cerise was quiet for a long moment. "What happens now? Now you rebuild your world. You live in peace. And you remember that. There are people in the galaxy who will answer when you call for help. And if other species threaten us..." Lisa smiled, but it was a sad smile. "Then you call us again." "But Elder Cerise, I hope you never have to." After the communication ended, Lisa returned to the bridge. Her crew was celebrating their victory, but she could see the questions in their eyes. "Captain," Commander Jake Martinez said, "we're receiving reports from across the galaxy. Word is spreading about what happened here." "What kind of reports?" "Mixed reactions. Some species are grateful that someone stood up to the Vorthok Empire. Others are frightened. They're calling us the Deathworld species and warning others to avoid contact with humans." Lisa sat in her command chair and thought about the implications. Humanity had wanted to join the galactic community as explorers and scientists. Instead, they had become known as warriors who fought wars in ways that other species found terrifying. "Captain," Dr. Turner said, "I'm analyzing communications from several galactic governments. They're discussing whether humans should be quarantined or invited to join the Galactic Council. What's your assessment?" "Some species want us as allies. They see us as protectors who can defend them from aggressive empires like the Vorthok. Others see us as a threat that needs to be contained." Lisa nodded. This was exactly what Earth's command had been afraid of. Humanity's first contact with alien species had turned into a demonstration of human warfare capabilities. "Captain," Sam reported, "we're receiving a priority communication from Earth Command." Admiral Kate Rogers appeared on the main screen. She looked tired and worried. "Captain Stone, I've been receiving reports about the situation at Serenity Prime. Please explain what happened. Lisa gave a complete report of the events, from the initial distress call to the Vorthok retreat. When she finished, Admiral Rogers was quiet for a long time. Captain, you disobeyed direct orders. Yes, ma'am. I did what I thought was right. And in doing so, you may have changed humanity's relationship with the galaxy forever. Lisa met the Admiral's gaze. Admiral, there were millions of innocent people about to be murdered. I couldn't just watch that happen. I understand your reasoning, Captain, but the consequences of your actions go far beyond saving the Kithara. We're receiving communications from dozens of alien governments. Some want to make alliance with us. Others are demanding that we be quarantined. What are Earth Command's orders? Return to Earth immediately. We need to discuss humanity's future role in galactic affairs. As the Defiant prepared to leave the Serenity Prime system, Lisa stood on the bridge looking at the planet they had saved. The Kithara were safe, but the galaxy would never be the same. Captain, Jake said, do you think we did the right thing? Lisa considered the question. We saved innocent people from genocide. That's always the right thing to do. But at what cost? The cost of innocence, Lisa replied. Ours and theirs. The Kithara learned that the galaxy isn't as peaceful as they thought. The galaxy learned that humans aren't as harmless as they hoped. As the Defiant jumped to faster-than-light travel, Lisa made a final log entry. Captain's log, final entry. We came to the stars hoping to find friends and allies. Instead, we've become the galaxy's most feared protectors. The Kithara are safe, but they now know that salvation sometimes comes from the most unexpected places. The galaxy has learned that Earth produces a different kind of warrior. Not heroes in shining armor, but survivors who will do whatever it takes to protect the innocent. We fight in the shadows. We attack the mind as well as the body, and we never give up. I don't know what the future holds for humanity in the galaxy. We may be welcomed as protectors, or we may be feared as a threat. But one thing is certain, when innocent people call for help, humans will answer, and the galaxy will never be the same. The Defiant disappeared into the stars, leaving behind a galaxy that was trying to understand what it had just witnessed. The peaceful species were grateful, but frightened. The aggressive species were warning each other to avoid the Deathworld humans. And somewhere in the darkness of space, other distress calls were being broadcast by desperate civilizations facing overwhelming odds. They didn't know it yet, but their calls for help would be answered by the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The humans were coming, and they would bring salvation in forms that no one expected.